Here's everything you need to know about Kang the Conqueror. This is Nerdist Now. With Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania finally coming to theaters this February, our years-long Kang Watch is officially coming to an end. Or at least being put on hold, since we found the titular Kang, and hoo boy, is he handsome. And while we've talked about Kang and his possible plans for the MCU in many different theory videos, we haven't fully dug into his comic backstory of the blue-faced supervillain who has been trying to conquer the Marvel Universe since before we landed on the moon. So suck it, Mr. Aldrin. I hope he doesn't see this, he punches people. If you'd like to read all about it, Eric Diaz has you covered on Nerdist.com. But to dive into Kang's weird and wild history, we're gonna have to talk about the comics, of course, as well as MCU shows and movies like Loki, Ant-Man, and Endgame. So if you're not caught up on all your MCU homework, you should probably take a hike so you don't ruin things for yourself. Like that guy who said the moon landing was fake and then got punched by Buzz Aldrin.
You've no business here.
Are you yelling at the moon?
Still here? Fantastic. 4? Actually, yes! And yes, we did that joke in the MODOK video. We know. Kang made his first appearance as Kang in 1964's Avengers #8, written by Stan Lee and penciled by Jack Kirby. In that issue, Kang the Conqueror travels to Earth to conquer it, if you can imagine that. The Avengers engage Kang but are beaten and captured, apart from the Janet Van Dyne Wasp. Janet, along with the help from longtime Hulk sidekick Rick Jones, form a plan and get into Kang's ship and free the Avengers. You get a gold star, Rick Jones. Good work. The Avengers managed to defeat him by destroying his suit, which controlled all of his weapons. Maybe fix that next time. Kang was forced to flee back to his time, back to the year 3000. In the year 3000. Kinda. It's a bit convoluted. Kang was born in the 30th century and hails from Earth 6311, also known in the comics as Other Earth. This Other Earth had a similar timeline to that of Earth 616. That was up until around 500 CE. On Earth 616, that era is commonly referred to as the Dark Ages. But on Other Earth, that section of time was filled with the greatest leaps in exploration and scientific discovery. Weirdly, medieval artists from both Earths couldn't paint babies without making them look like old men. In case this is your first time watching us talk about Kang, his real identity is Nathaniel Richards, and has claimed to be the descendant of Nathaniel Richards, the time-traveling father of Mr. Fantastic, who at one time brought peace to a war-torn Earth 6311. Kang has also claimed to be the ancestor of Dr. Doom as well, but no one's buying that. At the age of 16, Nathaniel was visited by his future self as Kang the Conqueror, who shows young himself all the glory of being a time traveler and weird stuff like living as a pharaoh named Ramatut, which was Kang's actual first appearance in comics, and that was in Fantastic Four number 19 in 1963. Stick with me on this. Growing up in a peaceful utopia can get boring, so a young Nathaniel started researching the Reed Richards of Earth 616 and their possible biological link. His research uncovered the abandoned fortress of the Benefactor and his time platform. Before Nathaniel could use any of the new toys he found, he was attacked by the Fantastic Four of Earth 7712, where Susan Storm has stretchy powers, Ben Grimm has demon wings, Johnny Storm is a robot man, and Reed Richards is
I'm a gigantic brain.
Their monikers on this Earth are Ultra Woman, Dragonfly, Mandroid, and The Big Brain, and they're all playing at Coachella. This Fantastic Four was sent by the Time Variance Authority, who we first saw in the MCU in Loki under the supervision of He Who Remains, one of the many variants of Kang in the MCU. This Photastic Four was sent to implant a device that would prevent Nathaniel's future self, Immortus, from absorbing temporal energies. Nathaniel was able to defeat that Fantastic Four, so the TVA then sent the Reed Richards rocket group of Earth 8212 to handle the situation. A lot of Earths. The Reed Richards Rocket Group, or RRRG if you're nasty, are the regular members of the Fantastic Four, but on an Earth where they waited until they had the proper shields to test their spaceflight, and by extension never got superpowers. So, who cares about them? That reality's Reed Richards convinced Nathaniel of their shared lineage and also talked him into willingly implanting himself with the TVA's device to stop the threat of his future self. With the TVA no longer sending different Reed Richards at him, Nathaniel decided to build his own time machine to resemble a sphinx, travel to ancient Egypt, and installed himself as the Pharaoh Ramatut, the only pharaoh to ever have a gun. Richards used his hyper-advanced technology to easily conquer ancient Egypt, and force his new serfs to reject the old gods and embrace him, which didn't go over well with Khonshu.
Break his windpipe!
But Ramatut is only one of Kang's alternate identities. Arguably the most dangerous of these is the aforementioned Immortus, who actually debuted only 2 issues after Kang in Avengers number 10. After having conquered timeline after timeline, Kang grew weary of battle. The alien race called the Timekeepers, time travelers from the end of the universe, approached him and made him their agent, preserving the sacred timeline rather than conquering it. In exchange for this duty, the Timekeepers gave him dominion over the timeless realm of Limbo and bestowed upon him immortality, hence the name Immortus. Not the most original, but he was tired. Pruning timelines is still a pretty aggressive act, and even though he wasn't conquering stuff, he still came into conflict with the Avengers on a number of occasions. The first time in the 70s Avengers arc Kang War, Immortus intervened when Ramatut sided with the Avengers against Kang, offering to give Kang an army of newly revived dead characters, only for Kang to double-cross Immortus and for the Time Cop to side with Ramatut and the Avengers to foil Kang. Seriously, that arc is madness. It has Frankenstein's monster in it. And sure, Immortus officiated the wedding of Scarlet Witch and Vision shortly thereafter, but he's also the reason Scarlet Witch went evil in the first place. All of the tragic events in her life, we find out, are actually the machinations of Immortus and Kang through the ages. In the comics, we even saw a council of Kangs from all across timelines and universes. And would you believe they rarely reached a quorum? But Marvel later revealed this Kang Council to be a trap of sorts, one made by Immortus to slowly eliminate all variants of himself to ensure that only he remained at the literal end of time. Are you confused yet? 'Cause I am. We know it's a lot, and that's without getting into how Kang once manipulated time to fight the X-Men and the crew of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Yes, that is an actual event that happened in the 90s. The 90s comics are insane. In 2005, Kang even infiltrated the Young Avengers wearing a Tony Stark-made suit and calling himself Iron Lad. When Teen Kang discovered what his dark destiny had in store for him, he fled back in time to seek the Avengers for protection. He landed at a point in time when the team had split up. So this Kang used his know-how to assemble Marvel's Young Avengers team. Eventually, he realized he must return to his own time and fulfill his destiny and become a villain, or he'd damage the time stream even more. Dude, this sucks. Like, if he's gonna cheat, how are we supposed to keep track of him? It's entirely likely that Jonathan Majors' version of Kang, or his many variants, could appear at different times in every major MCU movie from here until Secret Wars. How would we know? A character could show up and be like, "Hi, Captain Marvel, I'm Victor Timely." And then we find out it's Kang. And that's because he did do that in the comics. He called himself Victor Timely. He also melded with Miss Marvel and became Kamala Kang. By the end of Marvel's next few phases, when Kang has had plenty of time to show us who he really is, will we still want him gone? Will the Avengers truly want to destroy someone who has become such a huge part of their lives? You know, we always Kang Watch. How about, for once, we Kang listen? Nah, just kidding, he's a weird creep. And trust us, that's just the tip of the proverbial Kangberg. He is one of the most convoluted Marvel characters we've ever covered, and that's why we actually can't wait to see what Kevin Feige and company have in store for us when Kang properly makes his first appearance in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. But tell us, what do you think? Is Kang going to be more Thanos than Thanos? What MCU movies could he pop up in between now and Kang Dynasty? And will anyone ever look as good in green and purple as Jonathan Majors? Sorry again, Buzz Aldrin.
Return to the night.
Let us know in the comments below, and for the latest and greatest in the world of pop culture, affix your browser to Nerdist.com.